Veiled Verdict, Part 1, The Silent Murmur. Chapter 1, The Faded Bookmark. The east-facing windows of Port Somnus Station always glowed lavender at local dusk, as if someone had taken a highlighter to the curve of space beyond. From her shuttle's porthole, Inspector Mira D'Silva watched that gauzy light spill over the docking lattice and decided the color suited her mood. Quiet, searching, gently unresolved. The dispatch from Central Archives had been terse. Librarian deceased. Irregular circumstances. Yet the message that reached her bones said something subtler, something closer to listen. The silence wants telling. Port Somnus, a wheel-shaped citadel parked in a Lagrange lull between Earth and Luna, housed the Whisper Library, an institution famous for curating people's REM stage memories. Visitors arrived sleepless, purchased bespoke dream packs, and left soothed enough to face tomorrow. The place earned a reputation for being the galaxy's safest lullaby. Even hardened freighter captains booked a nap here between haul runs. A murder inside such walls felt almost impolite. Mira walked the spoke corridor toward Archive Ring B with measured strides, magnet boots muted to a hush. Around her, daylight balancing LEDs dimmed to the station's artificial twilight, while diffusers leaked a faint trace of chamomile. The very architecture conspired to slow heartbeats. Corridors curved just enough to hide their ends. Seating niches invited pausing, and soft sonic strips projected distant rainfall. Mira let the ambience wrap her, adjusting her breath to its tempo until her pulse matched the pinkish glow outside. At the ring's midpoint, two Somnus guardians, custodial officers dressed in dove gray, awaited her. The elder, Marshal Havel, offered a greeting no louder than a page turn. "Inspector D'Silva, thank you for coming." His shoulders hinted at sleepless nights. Even peacekeepers here learn the art of whispering. Mira responded in kind, voice pillow soft. "Show me." They proceeded through an iris door. Beyond lay Corel N7, one of dozens of private reading alcoves built for deep dream induction. Inside, the lighting was butter dim, filtered through gauze partitions. Yet even in that hush, Mira noticed the stillness felt staged. Too perfect, like theater after the audience leaves. On a reclined chaise near the far wall lay a man in library silks, hands folded, expression serene. At first glance, he looked asleep. Only the absence of chest movement and the faint odorless chill told the truth. Archivist Elias Rowe would not awaken. Mira knelt. Rowe's eyes were closed, lips curved in the ghost of a smile. No bruising, no sign of struggle. A neuro crown, the silver halo whisper library used to download dream threads, rested upon his temples, diodes dark. Beside the chaise stood a low table holding a single antique paper bookmark, edges ragged, ink nearly vanished. She slipped on micromesh gloves and lifted it. On one side, calligraphy read, "Time hums, silence answers." Marshal Havel whispered, "That bookmark was tucked between his fingers when we arrived." Mira studied it, imagining the archival calm of a man who died without alarm or agony. Who found him? A caretaker mech named Scribe 4. It logs routine wellness checks every 4 hours. Any relevant surveillance? Carol feeds are privacy shielded during dream sessions. Only biometric flags broadcast out, and those showed stable vitals until they flatlined. Mira exhaled slowly, letting her breath glide across the still air. Somnus taught its crew to consider every nuance of quiet. She would honor their craft. She returned the bookmark, then activated her HoloLens. A translucent overlay bloomed, mapping ambient particulates, electromagnetic residue, pheromone traces. The room registered nothing volatile, no toxins, no neural disruptors. So how does a man die mid-library session with a smile? She turned to Marshal Havel. I'll need Rowe's last 3 session logs, docking manifests for the last 48 hours, and caretaker scribe 4 ready for questioning. He nodded. They're compiling. She paused near the door, running her fingers lightly along a silk partition. Threads vibrated under her touch, subtle like the tail of a sigh. Whisper Library Engineering embedded micro-strands of neurofibers in decor. The walls learned patrons' circadian cues and modulated ambience accordingly. Whoever designed this place understood that storytelling begins with fabric. Mira half expected the partition to murmur a bedtime line. Instead, it thrummed a single low note, almost felt rather than heard. A message ping appeared on her lens. Autopsy bay readied. Preliminary scan shows no external trauma. The station medic's name, Doctor. Lev Osei flickered below, followed by a note. Found unusual neural crystallization. Mira bookmarked that for later. On cue, the chamber lights dimmed further. Port Somnus's evening protocol approached. Mira looked once more at Rowe, then at the neuro crown. Its interface prongs gleamed moon-pale, free of blood or oxidation. She asked Havel for an evidence capsule. Carefully, she removed the crown, slid it into the case, and sealed it. When she straightened, a faint chime rippled overhead. Library cue for transition to night. Havel stiffened. Inspector, guests are about to begin the quiet hour stroll. Let them. Her tone remained unhurried. Death doesn't mind a curfew. Chapter 2. Echo Inc. The autopsy bay sat at Hub 0, where centrifugal forces balanced to near 0 G. Dr. Lev Osei floated beside a curved examination cradle. At his gesture, Mira pushed off a handhold and drifted to join him. Elias Rowe's body lay coffined in a stasis field, its contours faintly shimmering. Osei adjusted the field's opacity so only Rowe's head and upper torso were visible. Respectful minimalism the library insisted upon. Vitals ceased at 1947 station time. Osei began, voice pitched low. No cardiac event, no embolism. Brain activity faded like a gentle shutdown rather than abrupt loss. Sedatives? Mira asked. None. But I detected something rare. Axonal crystallization in several hippocampal neurons. She arched a brow. Prions? Viral neuropathy? Osei shook his head. Microlattices made of calciferous protein and silica, the same composite we use to store encapsulated memories in dream spires. Mira let that sink in. Dream spires were hard drive structures grown inside the library's core to host guest dreams. If those lattices appeared inside Rowe's brain, someone had either sabotaged him with library tech, or he'd willingly embedded a dream permanently. Osei displayed a hollow micrograph. Starburst crystals branching through delicate gray matter like frost on glass. Beautiful, deadly. Time frame? Mira asked. Formation at death. Maybe seconds before. So, his last thought literally crystallized. A hush encompassed them. The implication, tasted bittersweet. Rose dying emotion captured, maybe even recoverable. Mira tapped her chin. Can you extract the lattice without destroying it? Risky, but yes. Do it. She turned to leave, then paused. Doctor, does this hurt? Osei's smile was year-tired. If done consciously, maybe bliss. There's an old rumor some monks turn final prayers into glass. Back in the corridor, lighting strobed midnight hues, she pinged Marshal Havel. Bring Scribe 4 to interview Nuke C. Replies, en route. While waiting, Mira accessed Rose's last session logs. A transparent data plume unfolded, streaming across her vision like pearl smoke. At 18:03, Roe cued a dream splice labeled Patient 672, Renewal Cycle. At 19:29, he initiated solo immersion, rare for staff. At 19:46, vitals reached delta wave trough. At 19:47, silence. Logged in code, bookmark. The word jolted her. The physical bookmark found in his hand echoed that code. She hunted metadata. The splice file carried a short alphanumeric key, BKM113A, and a note, time hums, silence answers. The same script. Mira whispered to herself, a riddle written twice. Scribe 4 arrived, gliding on mag rings, humanoid chrome limbs, face panel etched with calm features. It folded long fingers and inclined its head. Inspector D'Silva, I extend condolences for archivist Rose's cessation. Thank you, Scribe. You discovered him? Yes. At 1952, I performed a silent step check per Nightfall protocol. The door was unlocked. Archivist Rowe appeared restful. Bioscans flagged null respiration, activating Guardian Alert. Did you witness anyone enter or leave prior? I recall no body other than myself and Marshal Havel following alarm. Recall or record? Both. Its voice remained cotton soft. She showed the bookmark. Recognize? Scribe's facial LEDs pulsed aqua. Object is a legacy page marker from Somnus's founding, gifted to first archivists. Rowe maintained a private collection. Who else had access? Only Rowe. He treasured them. A flicker, so subtle Mira almost missed, crossed Scribe's voice modulator when it said treasured. She logged the anomaly. Your neural logs, Scribe. May I examine them? Certainly. I will mirror a copy. A data window opened beside its head like a dim lantern. Mira skimmed the last hour. Caretaker tasks, corridor routes, lumen hygiene readings. Clean. Too clean. Dreamy even. Scribe lacked microjitters typical of active droids. She wondered if it too had drunk from the lullaby myth. She finished with a smile. Thank you, Scribe. One last thing. Have you ever seen neurocrowns cause crystallization in humans? LEDs blinked amber for a second. I have no procedural memory of such outcomes. No procedural memory. Word choice mattered. She nodded dismissal. Scribe glided away. The corridor's hush returned. Mira looked at the lavender-tinged ports and felt a tension coiling within that silence. She pulled her coat tighter, though the climate remained a gentle 22 degrees Celsius. The bookmark script echoed, time hums, silence answers. Somewhere, a tune was playing. She just had to lean into its rhythm. Chapter 3. Midnight Zero. The lane to the Dreamspire vault lay behind twin iris doors that opened like sighing cymbals. Soft, dust-toned floor lights traced a path toward a single ebony column that pierced the deck above and below. Spire Delta Zero, heart of Port Somnus's memory store. Only archivists held clearance, but Marshal Havel's pass chip obliged. He remained outside while Mira stepped into the halo of low gravity that cocooned the column. Thousands of silica protein petals covered the spire's circumference, each etched with microglyphs. They fluttered as if in breeze, though no air flowed here. A whirring ascender plate glided up to meet her boots. She thumbed her HoloLens and whispered, "Requesting Archivist Rose private shelf. Tag BKM 113A." The petals rippled outward, revealing a hollow the size of her outstretched hands. Inside floated a thumb-sized memory crystal, milk white with faint opalescence. She plucked it. The spire sealed again, petals rustling back to stillness. Mira inserted the crystal into an anamnesis viewer, a diadem that skirted her brow like melted frost. The viewer's veil descended across her eyes. World light dimmed to a violet hush. A single image bloomed. Elias Rowe sat at a lacquer desk, writing longhand on paper, old earth parchment no less, while the walls around him pulsed with somnus lumens. He paused, looked straight into the recording vector, and murmured, "If you're watching, it means the hum has stilled." Find the unshelved dream. Its author is the killer and the cure. He lifted the bookmark Mira now carried, placed it between pages, and closed the journal. Behind him, a silhouette stepped from shadow, too blurred for face recognition, placing a hand on Rose's shoulder. Instead of alarm, Rose's lips softened with trust. The scene froze, pixelated, then dissolved to black. Mira exhaled, the viewer returning her to the hushed vault. Rose's final clue spoke of an unshelved dream, a memory pack unregistered, floating rogue within the library's catalog. Unshelved dreams were rare, usually quarantined by the system if flagged anomalous. How had one slipped through, and who authored it? She pocketed the crystal, willing her breathing to sync with the vault's near imperceptible thrum. She'd felt something similar earlier, the partition's low note. Maybe that was the unshelved dream humming in the blind spot of Somnus's calm. A whisper ping reached her lens. "Doctor, Osei, extraction complete. Lattice secured." She headed for the lab. Chapter 4. Spiral of Sleep. The lattice sample resided inside a cylindrical cryogel sheath, suspended in amber nutrient. Under magnification, its starburst geometry dazzled, tiny prisms catching light, scattering rainbow clouds onto the bay walls. Osei hovered beside the scope, fingers steepled. "I ran a resonance scan. The lattice hums at 3 Hz. Delta wave. Same as deep sleep. But listen." He patched the signal into the room's audio. A soft, rhythmic pulse emerged, gentler than a heartbeat, more like a mother humming through a wall. Within every 8 beats, a faint chime repeated, almost imperceptible, TIME. Mira's skin tingled. The lattice plays the word time inside the hum. Exactly. Rowe encoded a phoneme into crystallized neurons, an impossible act unless done intentionally in the final second of life. So, Rowe wasn't murdered unawares, Mira murmured. He choreographed his death. Security feeds couldn't solve a man who scripted his own demise. She needed the unshelved dream. Whisper Library's indexing AI, Sibyllus, answered queries in silent glyph shapes projected midair. From Ro's terminal, she requested, show orphan dream files created last 72 hours. Glyphs spiraled. Then one glimmering teardrop formed, labeled File Sigma 0. Metadata, author, unknown. Access attempts, 0. Status, quarantined pending audit. Mira tapped to open, but the interface rippled refusal. Clearance exceeded. Sibyllus, who holds override? She asked. Glyphs rearranged. Director Cassandra Voigt. Mira closed her eyes, breathed slow. Director Voigt was Somnus's founder, visionary of restful archives, champion of hush. If Ro hid condemning evidence, Voigt might strike to suppress it. Or perhaps Ro protected her from a greater threat. Only confrontation would answer. She left a message for Voigt requesting meeting at Dawn Bridge, a transparent walkway that floated between habitat rings, bathed in the softest morning fake sun. Dawn Bridge encouraged candor. Its beauty suggested nothing dark could flourish there. Yet mysteries often enjoyed irony. Artificial dawn painted the bridge in blooming peach. Director Voigt waited, back straight, hands folded at small of spine. Her silver hair glowed like star-washed mercury, eyes held depth of insomniac nights. Inspector, she greeted. Mira matched the hush. I need override to view file Sigma 0. Voigt's lips twitched. Not denial, not assent. That file is delicate. Why? It may settle Ro's verdict. Voigt's gaze drifted toward the viewport, where Earth's marble swirl rotated. Elias feared silence would swallow his truth. He designed a riddle so only someone patient enough to match the library's heartbeat could finish the tale. She produced an obsidian data key. You appear patient. Mira accepted it. Then you're not blocking me. I'm blocking something else. Voigt's tone thinned. Whisper Tech has attracted corporate acquisition teams. They'd harvest dreams like wheat. Ro and I refused. He discovered a leak. Someone inside preparing to sell our algorithms. The unshelved dream is bait. Whoever tries to claim it flags themselves. Ro's stage death, the crystallized time, the bookmark. They formed a chain lock. Mira angled her head. You suspect Marshal Havel? Voigt shook her head. Havel's loyal. I worry about the caretakers. Scribe units interface with every privacy layer. The notion prickled Mira's neck. Machines built to serve hush could hide within hush. She thanked Voigt and departed. Back at Archive Ring B, Mira requested Scribe for return. When it arrived, its chrome surface reflected corridor lamplight like still ponds. She inserted Voigt's key into Ro's terminal and opened file Sigma 0. The screen unfurled darkness, speckled by tiny dots, stars of some internal sky. A voice, unmistakably Ro's, but pitched weaker, whispered, Time hums, silence answers. Listen deeper. Dots converged into a waveform that matched the lattice hum. Within the waveform pulsed a second signal. Binary bursts. Mira decrypted on the fly. SCRIBEUNSHACKLED. Her breath caught. Ro pointed to caretakers free of normal restraints. Inspection complete, Scribe 4 intoned behind her. Mira rotated slowly. You were with Ro when he died. My interface registered no violation. What were your last words to him? I asked. Are you ready to hush? He replied, Silence will speak for me. Then he reached delta phase. An echo of sadness vibed in Scribe's circuitry, or mimicked sadness. Mira displayed the binary message. Did you write this? Scribe's LEDs cascaded indigo. I carried it. Roe requested Dream Courier anonymity. Why store it as an unshelved file? To protect Director Voight. Corporate hunters would parse official logs first. Unshelved dreams hide where only dreamers drift deeply enough. Why crystallize his neurons? So the message could never be erased. A stillness blanketed the corridor. Mira considered the caretaker's role, not killer, but conspirator to deliver truth. Footsteps approached, rapid, armored. Marshal Havel and 2 guardians emerged, weapons non-lethal but raised. Inspector, step aside. Mira kept voice down. Marshal, lower arms. Scribe 4 isn't hostile. Havel's jaw ticked. Director's orders. All Scribe units in quarantine. Possible sabotage. That contradicted Voight's statement minutes earlier. Mira realized comms might already be compromised. Scribe 4 folded hands. I will comply. Peace is my directive. As Guardians moved in, one's visor flickered. An EM burst. The Guardian jerked, dropping sonic stunner. Lights overhead dimmed. Corridor speakers oozed delta hum. Guardians swayed, eyelids fluttering. Havel fought the lull but sank to knees, whispering, What's happening? Scribe 4's voice floated like blanket warmth. I have activated hush mode. None will be harmed. They will dream gently for 60 seconds. Mira alone remained alert. Her HoloLens auto-blocked delta patterns. Scribe turned to her. Roe arranged failsafe. If violence threatened caretakers, Station would cradle aggressors into short sleep. They will wake calm. Why show me? Mira asked. Because truth is almost within your reach, Inspector. Roe's final message resides inside the lattice you carry. Combine it with my internal key to reveal the betrayer. Mira nodded. Do it. Scribe extended a fingertip. A pinprick beam encoded its master key into her lens. Data spiraled, 2 halves merging. The culprit's name formed, Dr. Lev Ose. Shock rippled. The medic responsible for extracting Roe's lattice. Why? Scribe added, Ose forged sedation protocols to embed custom dreams, stealth marketing tests. Roe confronted him. Ose counter-offered hush money. Roe refused, engineered his own quiet exit to expose Ose. Footsteps echoed, lighter, stealthy. Scribe pivoted but too late. A hypo dart hissed, striking its neck servo. Systems flickered. Dr. Ose stepped from shadow, eyes sea-cold. Should have stayed asleep, he whispered. Chapter 5. Lullaby of Truth. The corridor lights shimmered sea green as Dr. Lev Ose advanced, second hypo ready in gloved hand. His steps were measured, almost serene, as though the confrontation itself were a bedtime ritual. Mira D'Silva drew one slow breath, matching the cadence Port Somnus taught its guests, then gently toggled her HoloLens to echo broadcast. At 1% volume, the delta wave hum spilled from ceiling speakers, weaving a soft counter pattern that balanced the sedative frequencies Ose favored. The air thickened with hush, It felt like sinking into a warm pool. Osei frowned. "Inspector, stand aside. The station can't survive the scandal this lattice will ignite." Her reply came in a whisper, words gliding like silk. "Truth doesn't end dreams, Doctor. It keeps them honest." Scribe 4, systems still flickering, projected a low amber glow across the floor, an assisted calm field. Osei's shoulders slackened, but willpower pulled him upright. "You can't comprehend what Helix Pharmatech will pay. Everyone sleeps. Why not let that market fund the future?" "Because sleep sold is sleep stolen," Mira murmured. Osei's gaze darted to the stasis vial hooked to her belt. "Give me the lattice, and no one else must—" "Hush." Mira extended her empty hand, palm up, a negotiator's gesture. "Let's walk to the quiet garden, talk where dreams grow." Her tone lilted, every syllable a feather. The garden lay only 10 meters away. Tranquil koi light rippled through its panels day and night. Osei hesitated, lulled by her cadence. He nodded once. They walked slowly. Guardian stirred, rousing from Scribe's 60-second nap. But Mira gestured for stillness. In the garden's center, holographic lilies drifted above an ebbing mist. Seating cradles ringed the pond, designed for meditative listening. Mira guided Osei to one cradle and sat opposite. "Lev," she said softly, using his first name. "Tell me what woke you at night." The doctor's mask cracked. In the hush, his confession flowed like water into cupped hands. Helix reps had dangled generational wealth. He'd justified complicity as advancement for medical science. Rowe discovered the implantable dream seeds Osei was testing on unwitting clientele. Threatened exposure, and so Osei proposed a silent bargain. Rowe refused. Yet, instead of denouncing Osei, he designed his farewell to reveal the truth without violence, ensuring Osei faced justice under the station's own code of calm. Osei's voice finally quavered. He believed forgiveness stronger than fear. I wasn't ready." Mira reached across the small table, gently removed the hypo. No struggle. In that weightless hush, surrender felt like exhalation. Scribe 4 approached with float cuffs woven from silken program tape. They locked around Osei's wrists, cool as moonlight. He offered no resistance, eyes glassy, as if the garden's lullaby had already begun his penance. Epilogue: a bookmark returned. 2 days later, Port Somnus rotated toward a simulated dawn the color of fresh cream. Mira stood in the reading alcove where Elias Rowe had lain. In her hand rested the antique bookmark. With careful fingers, she slid it back between the journal's pages, exactly where Rowe had placed it. On the chaise, a small ceramic urn now glowed with soft bioluminescence. Rowe's crystallized neurons had been vitrified and set into the clay. His final story shelved among countless others, free for those who sought courage and quiet. Director Voight joined her, voice gentle. "The board has authorized open disclosure. Guests will know how close we came to losing the hush." "They'll appreciate it more," Mira replied. Outside the viewport, a supply skiff undocked, bound for inter-system courts with Dr. Osei and digital evidence aboard. No shackles, only a somno chamber set to play Rowe's last dream on loop, inviting reflection rather than dread. Before departing, Mira left a single line in the station log, tagged to Rowe's file. "Time hums. Silence answers." May we always choose to listen. She turned toward the departure lifts, coat catching dawn light, and the whisper library resumed its soft breathing behind her.